episode of AIBiz. I'm your host Avik, and today we are stepping into a space that's shaping the future of business, I'd say artificial intelligence. Yeah. So, dear listeners, we hear about AI everywhere nowadays, like from viral ChatGPT demos to companies racing to integrate the automations. But what does real ROI from AI actually look like? And how can businesses, especially the mid market companies, scale AI adoption without risking the privacy, security, and control? Good to think about, right? So, to answer those questions and more, I'm joined by the brilliant Hunter Jensen. So, welcome to the show, Hunter.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Amazing, amazing. So, dear listeners, before we delve deep into this topic today, I'll quickly love to introduce you with Hunter. Hunter is the founder and CEO of Barefoot Labs and Barefoot Solutions. So, with over 2 decades of experience helping brands like Microsoft, Salesforce, Petco innovate responsibly, he brings an insider's perspective on what it really takes to translate AI hype into business value. So, whether you are an executive considering your next move, or maybe a founder swimming in the AI tools, or just curious, like how to make smarter tech decisions, then this one is for you. So, let's jump in. Welcome to the show again.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Amazing. Yeah. Hmm. And to start with, I definitely love to mention this ROI, the real ROI from AI. It's a great topic to discuss about it because nowadays we are hearing everywhere AI tools and all. But AI is often pitched on a kind of silver bullet, but without clear ROI, it's it's just a kind of expensive hype. So AI work with the mid-market companies. Where are you seeing the biggest returns on investment from the AI right now?
Yeah, so what I'm seeing out there with these mid-market companies
Yeah.
that are finding success
Okay.
are thinking about things in terms of boosting efficiency and productivity and thereby improving outputs, increasing the volume of outputs. And so, that's a little abstract, but let's talk about it with an example or two. Deploying AI for a defense contractor, they estimate that they will be able to uh, put out 25% more proposals
Yep.
responding to RFPs with the
Mm.
help of an AI assistant. So that's, you know, maybe two or three closed deals in a given year. That's 4 million in net new revenue, all
Mm.
without, having to hire more people. And
True.
and so, another good example was a pharmaceutical company. They design clinical study protocols, and they gave me a similar number where they said they think they can generate up to
Mhm.
30% more of these protocols using AI. Now, these companies, they're dealing in very confidential information, so they can't just use ChatGPT, right? We have to deploy self-hosted, kind of on-premise AI platforms that connect to various like document management systems or third-party systems and all the rest of it to actually enable this, right? They can't just upload confidential information into a third-party large language model to help them do their job. So as an executive, I go back to the same thing, right? It's about giving your employees the tools that they want and need so that they can be more efficient and more productive. And that
Yeah.
is where I'm seeing the most like powerful drivers of ROI is actually in revenue, not in cost cutting.
Mm. Okay. Got it. Got it. So, uh, okay. And when companies don't see ROI, what's the typically going wrong here? What do you say?
Yeah, there's so much of this in 2024. It was killing me. There was just a lot of like tinkering and exploration and little proof of concepts. Uh, but really, what I'm seeing is that I think a lot of people are thinking about AI in the wrong way, which is they're thinking about, okay, I have this use case that seems like a good opportunity for AI. I'm going to go out and I'm going to pay for some third party tool to try and improve this one use case. And I'm seeing a lot of that not being effective for any number of reasons. Oftentimes, it's just one person at the organization using it. Oftentimes, they have overestimated how helpful it can be or how much time they can save, or they don't know what to do with the extra time that they've been giving. And so there's this thinking of like, let's solve a use case. And I'd like to think about it differently, which is
Okay.
we need to deploy a platform that
Mhm.
scales across our entire organization. And I'll give you another example of something like that. So this is a law firm, right?
Okay.
And we uh, had an attorney say, "Hey, I think I could write these agreements a lot faster if I was able to use ChatGPT, but I'm not allowed to because it's all confidential information." And so we set him up with a quick and dirty, uh, locally run LLM and RAG database on his laptop, and he went off and used that for a month or two. And he came back and he said, "Man, this saves me about 6 hours a week." And it's like, okay, that's great. But at the firm level, that does not move the needle, right?
Mm.
So so what we did was actually turn around and deploy across the entire organization. Now we're talking about 750 attorneys saving 6 hours per week. And if you do a little math about like average billable, rates and things like that, you're talking about $100 million plus in value creation at this firm. So when you think about it, not as a use case, but as a general purpose tool, almost as an operating system for your business, that's when you start to see big numbers, real value creation, real productivity gains. That's the important bit.
Got it. Mm. So, okay. And then that distinction between experimentation and integration is so important, especially for the leaders who are chasing innovation but skipping alignment with the core business goals. So, what do you love to mention them?
It's so true. It's so true. Like not aligning with the core business goals is
Yeah.
probably the most common reason I see projects fail, more
Mhm.
so than anything else. And
Yeah.
we've already talked a lot about ROI, but I'm just like pounding the table on this. You need tangible,
Yeah.
measurable calculations of
Mm.
estimated ROI before you invest in one of these
Yes.
projects. It needs to be on paper and it needs to be measurable, meaning after you
Mm.
deploy, you better prove it. You better prove that the ROI is there. And if it's not, figure out what's wrong with your calculations and adjust and fix it.
Mm.
But the key is aligning your values and with the mission of the company and making sure that you have a calculated, measurable return on your investment before you make the investment.
Got it. Yeah. So, I mean, while large enterprises have the budget to play in the AI sandbox, like mid-sized businesses often have to be the more strategic. So, what AI use cases are working best for these companies right now?
Yeah, so I mean that's so right.
Mm.
You look at Goldman Sachs, they have GSAI. JP Morgan's got one too.
Mm.
Cisco has one. BAE Systems has one. All the large enterprises have the
Mm.
in-house resources and capabilities to build out systems like this that help,
Mm.
boost their employee productivity and efficiency. And it is time for mid-market companies to get on board. They don't have the same kind of resources. And so that's when you start looking at third-party products, the service providers, all the rest of it to come in and build these things out. And again, it's more about it's more about the platform
Mm,
instead of, versus specific use cases, right? And when you put these things in the hands of your employees,
mm,
there's all sorts of interesting use cases that they have just in their day to day, right? Things that can really move the needle. And so rather than thinking about, okay, this use case, proposal writing, I see, the biggest opportunity to generate more value for my business. So let's find a proposal writing AI. And I say, no, do not do
mm,
that. Deploy a more general purpose AI platform across the organization that can handle proposal writing, along with answering HR questions or helping build marketing content or,
mm.
you know, any number of things that help, a company's employees. That is the key to success here.
Uh-uh. Got it. So, like, are there any unexpected industries or the roles where AI is driving surprising results? I mean, if you want to say it.
Yeah, so this is really where I'm
Mm,
seeing the market go right now. There is an entire segment of companies,
mm.
about half of them, half of mid-market companies that
Yeah.
are dealing in confidential information all day.
Mm,
Think financial services. I'd mentioned
mm,
defense, life science, and biotech, law firms, you name it. All of these companies
mm,
feel a little left behind because people that work on marketing content or sales or don't have deal in confidential information. They've been using ChatGPT and Claude and all sorts of stuff for like a year or two now, and it's really
mm,
helping them do their jobs. And but this other sector is left behind. And so that's where I'm seeing the most movement is these companies figuring out how to deploy this stuff in a way that they can continue to use this
mm,
confidential information in combination with, like a RAD database and a large language model and really level up in a way that they're not able to using, third party APIs and third party subscription based AI assistants and large language models. And so that is the sector that I'm the most interested in, where I believe there's going to be the most growth in the next, let's call it 6 to 18 months, where
mm.
budgets have already been approved. I mean, I'll tell you this, if you're a mid-market company and you don't have an AI budget for 2025, you have already gotten left behind. Like that, so most companies are planning on spending significant amounts of money, not paying for a subscription here or there, but actually deploying full production ready firm-wide systems this year. Starting in Q1 and Q2 through the end of the year, I'm seeing a lot of action in that space.
Got it. Got it. And uh like what are the most common missteps, I'd say, you see businesses make when trying to adopt AI?
Great question. We've covered the big one, which
Mm,
is aligning with the core mission and vision,
yeah.
calculating the ROI ahead of time. Um,
Okay.
Another one that I've seen
Mm,
is lack of training. Sometimes it's easy to overlook the training bit, but you can't
mm,
assume that everybody knows how to write a prompt, as an example. You know, if you're an attorney
mm,
and you've been writing contracts or patent applications or whatnot your whole career, you have not been writing prompts. In fact, other than in your your personal life, you probably aren't getting a lot of value out of something like ChatGPT. So when you roll these things out, you need comprehensive training programs, right?
mm,
Where you can get everybody up to speed on how to use AI, how to leverage it effectively, how to write really great prompts, how to massage responses
mm,
when you don't get back exactly what you need, how to avoid hallucinations and remain vigilant to make sure that those don't end up in production grade outputs, right? And so I think one of the big missteps that I've seen beyond the two core ones is lack of training.
Mm, yeah. And if a company has already started down the wrong AI path, what's the best way to course correct without kind of losing momentum?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's kind of a hard
Mm,
question, but
mm,
um what I typically recommend, assuming we're still talking about mid-market companies, they don't necessarily have in-house AI expertise.
okay.
I generally recommend bringing in a consultant.
Mm,
I'm not a huge fan of bringing in consultants for writing 50-page reports
mm,
that collect dust in the bookshelf, but in this particular case, expertise is required. You have to know a lot about how these things work and how they get deployed at organizations to be successful in something like this. And so, bringing in a consultant to identify, potential areas that are problematic. Like as an example,
mm,
I've seen a company that wanted to build machine learning models, predictive models,
mm,
and their data was a mess.
mm,
And, it's garbage in, garbage out with this kind of thing. If your data is a mess, then machine learning models are not going to be very good if you're using that data. And so you need to do these kind of foundational checks, data integrity, data governance, clean it all up for these models to work. And they're so eager to get to the prediction phase that they miss some of the fundamentals, and that's when bringing in an expert that has seen these problems in other businesses and addressed them will help catch things like that before you're so far down the road and you've spent all sorts of money to get this model that's barely better than a coin flip.
got it. Got it. Huh. That's amazing. And I mean, it's really a powerful reminder because tech isn't just about uh, what you use, but it's like how you implement it and who is driving the process inside the organization as well. So that is also very important. So, yeah. And the most important part, which is the privacy and the control, like, uh, what do you think? I mean, your platform, Compass offers businesses self-hosted alternative to public AI tools. Like, what's a big risk in handling your data over a platform like OpenAI or Google, and why should businesses consider private infrastructure?
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
the risk is that confidential information or highly regulated information
Mm,
gets leaked into public large language model training data, right? Where all of a sudden some stranger asks a question and when the chat GPT responds with something that should not know,
mm,
right? That is the biggest concern. There are other companies for regulatory reasons that just can't do it.
mm,
Like as an example, law firms. Whenever a law firm wants to share their clients' information with a third party system, they have to go out and get permission from every single client. And often that's like, they're going to say no because they don't trust these platforms. And honestly, rightly so, in my opinion. I mean,
mm,
OpenAI just lost a lawsuit
mm,
where the judge said that they are not allowed to delete chat information, even with accounts where that is required by the terms and conditions, with these paid subscriptions and all the rest of it, where they say that they're going to delete it, but a judge just told them that they're not allowed to. And so it's too fluid, it's too new, and it's just too dangerous to allow information like that
mm,
to sneak out. If a law firm accidentally revealed, let's say, like a new chip design from a
mm,
you know a chip maker, like that would end the law firm, right? They would get sued into absolute oblivion, and people would lose uh their license to practice law, and like it would be game over. So like you can't you just there are just some firms that absolutely cannot take that
mm.
kind of a risk.
Understood. Understood. Definitely. Lovely. And so this might sound contradictory, but it's actually not. Like some skeptics argue that mid-market companies should wait until AI tools mature more uh, before jumping in. So what do you think? Is early adoption really worth the risk or what?
Yeah, I mean, that was me last year,
Okay.
just telling companies, just wait, hold up. It's moving too fast. There's too many problems with it. The hallucinations were way worse than they are now. They hadn't figured out a lot of the security, but now we're there. And the way that you can tell we're there is the enterprises are live. Like those large companies that I rattled off at the beginning, those are live in production. Goldman Sachs has 47,000 employees using GSAI. Like they did the battle testing for the mid-market companies. And it's done. Like they have proven these use cases, they have proven the ROI, and that's how you know it's ready for mid-market companies. So, do you want to be early for the mid-market companies or do you want to be late? Because the boosts that we're seeing in value creation and efficiency and productivity of these companies, it's like it's like a rocket ship. And if your competitors are doing that and you're not building your rocket, then when you get around to adopting it late, like I think you're probably already cooked, because of the just how quickly it accelerates once you deploy these kinds of things.
That's amazing. Wow, lovely. Great. So, Hunter, thank you so much for taking us beyond the buzzwords today. And I have to say that what you have shared shows that AI is not just about the intelligence, it's about intentionality. And like it's not about having the kind of flashiest tool. It's also asking how does this serve our people, purpose, and long-term mission, definitely. So, everyone who is listening, AI is not just for the tech giants or maybe the coders and the hoodies. So, it's a business tool, and with the right mindset, guidance, and guardrails, it can revolutionize how we work and what we are capable of. So, Hunter, if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the best medium?
Yeah, absolutely. So, email me, hunter@barefootsolutions.com, and just mention, hey, I heard you on the AIBiz podcast, and I promise I will write you back and we can get a dialogue going. I love talking about this stuff. You do not have to be a potential client. Just say, hey, I heard you on AIBiz, and I'd love to talk to you.
Amazing. That's really amazing. So, dear listeners, I'll put the email in the show notes for easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, stay curious, stay secure, and keep building a healthy mind and a thriving life. So, thank you so much.